call this meeting to order at, let's see, 6:01. And we're here to discuss an emergency situation that was brought forward this morning, and action needs to be taken. What this is about is the two people who have been spending most of their time putting work in on the gazebo discovered that the posts at the base of each one of the 8 posts at the base of the gazebo that's holding it up are rotted. This has created a situation where one pole, you grab hold of one of the poles and you just give it a little push and the thing quivers substantially. What that means is it has no support. There is no fix for this. The only thing that we can do with it at this point is tear it down and put our efforts into building a new one out of sound material. This thing was never meant to last. It was built the way it was, so it could collapse in the movie, and they didn't do what they were going to do with it and just left it there. The town decided to take it on for, the people here in town, and it's never been structurally refit. You can go up to that thing and you can look right down through the ground at one of those posts, and you can see that the poles are not anchored to the ground. I know this isn't a popular thing to do, but when you can make a building or a structure move as much as that one moves just by touching it, essentially, you're looking for problems. So the plan that's been put into place is the town crew is going to take it down. We're going to save what we can say. Hang on, let me finish.
Sorry, I don't know how to, I'm just trying to.
Okay, no problem. We don't have any choice but to take what's there, take it down carefully, and put the energy and effort into building a new one. We're going to try and save some pieces to it. It might be possible to integrate in a new gazebo. We don't have 2 weeks. We don't have 10 days. We don't have 10 minutes. We get a solid windstorm and that's going to come down. And if you got kids in the way, it isn't going to be a pretty picture. So that's where we're at. I will start by asking anybody. First of all, I'll ask the select board members to ring in on this, and then I'll take questions. Phoebe,
sure.
Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna just say that I would like to make a motion that we immediately expand the safety perimeter around the gazebo to prevent anybody being anywhere near it within, let's say, 6 feet, and establishing like a physical barricade around the gazebo, like immediately as soon as possible.
Okay, it's a motion. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second.
Okay. Discussion. This is where you can start asking questions one at a time. Who has a question?
Hey, Rob Swagger here. Do you guys hear me?
Yeah. Hi, Rob.
Hey there. It sounds like tomorrow morning would be the soonest that we could get our road crew and highway department there. Does that sound correct, Sherwood?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
And it sounds like there's already a plan in place to tear it down?
Yes.
Okay. So it makes sense, Phoebe, that we would cordon off that kind of area so that nobody's close to it, but it probably won't be until tomorrow morning.
Yeah, I mean, Yes, but it sounds like the plan is that, but if they're gonna, if it's already in the works that it's gonna be torn down, there's no point in putting up the barricade if that's what's in the plan.
This is true. This is true. But what I would like to do, now that there's a motion made and seconded, is take a comment from people that are here to ask questions. Connie, go ahead.
She's got to unmute.
There you go.
So we have some folks who want to speak here, and Phoebe, I'm going to have to put you on mute because your background noise is causing some ruptures. Okay, so I know that Jeff wants to say something, and anybody else who wants to say something.
Is there a chair up that they can come up to? Can we put a chair up in front of the camera so that they can identify themselves?
You can hear me. You can hear me fine. Why are we doing this to them anyway?
One, I can't hear you fine. And two, I need you to come closer so you can be identified. Thank you. Why
There,
are we doing what?
doing this in Zoom and not in a meeting.
Because it had to be done immediately. That's
Well,
why.
I'm in here immediately. You guys couldn't come to the town hall?
No.
To be honest with you, Jeff, I'll jump right in my truck and drive down right now. I didn't know that it was even the town hall was going to be open, or I would be right there next to you.
Well,
Same.
I'm in Rhode Island visiting my family, but I'm happy to be here on Zoom and have that opportunity.
well, that's different if you're in Rhode Island, but you say it's got to be tore down, okay, but what guarantee do we have that you'll rebuild? Shouldn't we have a vote?
You're a member of the town, correct? You live here?
No,
You live here?
I'm from Wadsboro.
Okay.
Yeah,
You're gonna,
member of Townsend, taxpayer in Townsend. I was on the
Okay.
Selectboard for 13 years.
that's fine. What the plan is people can get together, develop some kind of a plan so that we can put a new one back there with the right materials. Pressure treat. It's all open. I mean, if this is gone, this is out of the way. Then you have the opportunity at town meeting to put an article in and
I think we
whatever.
should at least have a meeting in the town hall with whoever the voters that will show up before you just call something like this and then just tear it down. That's what I think should happen. That's how we used to do it back. We wouldn't do something like this, just choose it and in 24 hours, knock it down. I think you got to call an honest to God meeting right here in the town
This
hall.
is it. This is.
This
As
is,
it's constituted by the law, it is.
this is like COVID days.
Well,
I can
they
understand.
still left those conditions in place so that we could get this thing taken care of.
It seems kind of shady to me, just being a voter.
So-
What do you,
Yes, I want
Jeff.
to see a new gazebo built, so let's build one.
okay,
Hey, Jeff, it's Phoebe. Can you hear me?
Yep. Can you see me?
I can. Yep. Nice and close. I totally agree. It's a very weird format that we're in
Yeah.
Zoom. We're also
I can
all
understand.
sort of,
Just going
well,
back,
yeah,
I can
yeah.
understand if somebody's on vacation, that's perfectly fine, but there should be at least 3 board members in this building right now.
I totally don't disagree.
They like to take
I
rides
think,
together when they're going places, but there should be 3 people in this building.
that's
so
your opinion.
part of it, at least for me, is that this is like a fast acting thing. And so, yes, it is over Zoom. Yes, it would be better if it was in person, but regardless, this is the meeting. And this is a very fast moving thing. So I'm actually glad that Zoom exists so that this
Yes.
wasn't so fast that the gazebo, could be gone. Because part of my thinking in making a motion to create a higher barrier is that we could either have enough time for as a town to have a safe type of gathering to have a sense of goodbye to the original gazebo, as well as any sort of future planning and community gathering about how the town of Townsend as a community would like to do with the space, because the actual gazebo in place is structurally not really replaceable.
Knows on the
Yeah.
we went through this over and over again. So, yeah, I understand. Let's tear it down. But what's the guarantee that you're gonna rebuild anything? That's what should be decided, right?
It's up to you. Show up at town meeting, introduce an article to rebuild it, and it'll get rebuilt. And maybe it'll get rebuilt so it won't fall down. Does that make sense?
Well, what would make sense is to bring it forth when we're putting the articles together and have an idea what you want to build and bring the article to the town meeting. And that way there's something put together in order to build it. And then the town voters can vote on, you know, an actual structure that has some drawings or, you know, a blueprint of what is going on. So that would
There
be
is,
the
I don't think there's, yes, I'm sorry, Rob.
I said that would
I
be the
think-
proper way to go about it. So
I think that nobody that's on the board at right this minute wants to see it go completely and not be there. But we have to act. You know, if there's a kid playing on that common, when that thing decides to come over, that's not going to be a good thing. Not
No.
at all.
No,
And we are liable as a town. Okay. We are liable as a town for something like that happening. We know that the thing is defective. We know that the thing has issues that it's not going to stand up. So we need to take care of that. But again, I'm certainly in favor of getting people involved with what we want to build to replace it. That's your guarantee. I can't tell you any more.
no,
I would be happy to
there's
form
other
a-
people that want to talk, so I'm gonna step back, but it's funny, we can get the gazebo down quicker than we can get that tree off the side of Route 35 up there. Somebody's tied ribbons on it, but the tree's still half in the road. Can we get that done tomorrow too? When they're done tearing the gazebo down?
Okay,
We probably bought some mirrors already.
so,
All right, if you don't mind, Rob Swigert here.
Okay,
Unless I'm stepping on
hold on.
someone.
Hang on, Rob. Go ahead, Connie.
Okay,
Rob, we'll let you speak. We just have two people that we know want to speak. Paula Newton wants to speak and Linda Sperry is here to speak as well. But why don't you go first, Rob, and then we'll have the other folks.
I just wanted to fast forward through some of the disruptive speak and just talk about this particular issue being a matter of public safety, and needing to move quickly on it is paramount for the safety of the citizens. So that separate tree issue can be handled at a different meeting, if you don't mind.
Maybe just move the tree down the road.
Okay, so now we're going to have, Linda, do you want to have Paula go first, or would you like to go? You have Paula's-
Paula can go.
Okay, why don't we go ahead and have Paula, if you want to come
Okay.
on.
Yeah, hi. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead, Paula.
Okay. Yeah, I was just wondering, I just heard about this and I'm just wondering who deemed this unsafe was one of my questions, and their credentials. And secondly, I thought that there was a fire marshal or somebody who came a few weeks ago that said that it was safe. So I'm just curious, asking some questions.
Well, the answer is that the people who have been maintaining it brought it to my attention at noon today. And I went down there and looked at it, and you can see in the holes, the ground. You can see that the 8 posts that run from the deck all the way to the top are rotten. You can see when somebody pushes one of those posts that the whole thing shivers. it would take very little to knock it down on top of somebody. That's, I don't think you need a credentialed person to do some kind of a study for something that's right in front of your face that you can see is a problem.
Was there a fire marshal that came and took a look at it?
No, there's not a fire marshal. Why would a fire marshal come?
I was just wondering. Nobody.
Sherwood, I think that somebody does believe here that there was a fire marshal that did come and view it. So maybe we can address that in a minute.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Okay. Are you taken care of? Paula?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay,
I-
let's
other
go on to the next one.
Thank you.
Oh, wait a minute. You said you have another question?
No, I'll listen. Thank you.
Okay, yeah. Who's next?
Okay. So
Linda Sperry here.
Hi, Linda. How are you?
Okay. Still out of breath from rushing down to the town hall. I
Or the next time.
am here representing, as a citizen of the town, but also as a member of the Townshend Church. It is my understanding that the church owns the common. And apparently, recently, there's been the paperwork that supports that apparent fact has been recently come to light. And so I'm not sure that this is a decision that is supposed to be, that should be made by the town.
It's
So what I
being
would
made
have-
by the town.
What I would
Rob,
have,
did you?
what I would
Go
have
ahead.
to say in that situation, Miss Sperry, is that then the church should get the liability on it and maintain it. If you guys want to be the ones that,
The reason it came to light.
and
recently
it wasn't something that just came in lately, is the part that the church owned the common. It's been a well-known fact, I think, through the town since probably like the mid 1800s that the church owned the common. It was deeded to the common by whoever lived in the parsonage at whatever time years ago, I do believe.
Okay.
So that's not like a new concept. That's been
Okay,
something that's been known for a long time. But as far as the maintenance goes, the town's been maintaining it. As Jeff just said, this has gone on, and Jeff was a longtime select board member in the past. So
Yep.
this isn't a new subject. This isn't new to having to fix it because of its dilapidation. And if the church wants to be the one to maintain it and hold the liability on it, then the church should jump right in and get into the ring and do it.
Right now,
We-
the gazebo belongs to the town of Townsend. What it's sitting on may belong to the church, or actually the family that owned the property, that allowed the church to take it on. That's a long story.
the gazebo-
And I don't think we're going to argue that tonight. I think what you need to understand about it is the gazebo belongs to the town. The
Okay.
town has been taking care of it. So whether it goes up or down doesn't have anything to do with the church.
Okay, well.
I wish we didn't have to move this fast. What's
excuse-
that?
The people in the church, there are people who knew this about owning the common, but they did not pass that information along as they have developed dementia and all that. So the people left at the church now did not know all this until recently.
Well, I think the end all catch all of that particular issue is that we hire an attorney and have them do a title search.
Well,
And
that's in the plan.
okay, that's fine. But we are not going to wait months for that to happen. I mean,
Yeah.
we're talking records back to the early 1800s. I've got some of them.
I
And
understand.
that's not part of this. This is simply, we have a structure that is, if it left, it's going to kill somebody, and we need to move on it. And I'm sorry, but that's
That's
what it
fine.
boils down to.
I
That's
believe that the Townsend, the church thing, that there's, that part of the deed is that the town of Townsend uses it unless, so if the church were to close and nobody were to use it anymore, we have to have so many events on it for the community a year. And then if that doesn't happen, it has to go back to the family who originally deeded it to the church. So it's like, there's a whole, it's a very long, complicated thing. If you just talk to Charlie Marchand, he could probably explain the whole thing to
Right.
you.
Well, that's where the church is about to learn these things.
Yeah.
I
Well,
didn't,
I can tell you, ma'am, from looking at the records that I have so far, that it's going to be a complicated thing.
we already knew that.
Yeah.
That's fine. We get that. We get that.
Okay.
Sherwood, is there a way you could share your screen to show the pictures and the videos that you took earlier today of it?
Yep, I'm pretty sure. I'm not sure how well the video because of the connection will hold, but we'll put it up. Put it up.
I have one more question as a
All right, go right ahead.
townsperson is, I don't understand why this couldn't be the destruction of the gazebo had to couldn't wait 2 weeks with all, with everything that's on it now. I just saw all the ways to keep people off, and I don't understand why it had to happen in one day with no notice. It is not sitting well with a lot of people, and it won't sit well with a lot more once they find out. There was this meeting that nobody knew about. And so that's all I'm saying. I think it's a problem.
All right, we got your feedback.
Sherwood, we have Laura Richardson who wants to.
She needs to wait a minute. Rob needs to speak. Go ahead, Rob.
Rob, this Rob or Rob?
No, the
Swigert?
other one. So, Swigert.
Oh, sorry,
Hey.
I wasn't waiting. I'm just listening. Thank you, Sherwood.
Okay, I'm going to put the pictures up of the structural issues, and then we can go on from there. All right. First, the video. All right. Now, for people who know John Evans, you can see John Evans on that side to your right, and he takes and can you see that? For the places that it's hard to see, we'll replay it again. Now the structure is leaning to the left. And if you look up at the top of the finial, it's wagging away up there. That's also to the left. Well, let's take a look at some of the structural element, the base of those pillars. That's only one of the ones that has some problems, but with my hand, I pulled that piece of wood off, so it's so rotten that I can take it off without tools. But there's some that are better. Let's look at that. See that? That's even one of the better ones. That little hole goes all the way to the ground, and there's no structure underneath of it to hold it up. It's all held up by the decking. Let's see. We'll take this one right here. That's how far it's out, leaning to the left. We'll go to the other side.
Sherwood, while you're showing these, I'm just,
Yeah, go ahead, Christina.
sorry, it was Phoebe.
Phoebe.
So thanks for getting the footage and showing this. Again, bringing the discussion back to the motion that I made, which is increasing the safety barrier around the gazebo immediately. Because there are multiple conversations about what needs to take place with the gazebo, and it does need to happen in a fairly timely manner. Yet also, I hear and completely feel the recognition of not wanting this to be happening so fast that the town isn't even aware, and the frustration that that would cause among the community, yet wanting and needing to keep the community safe. So again, I'm just thinking about the motion of increasing the barrier to ensure safety is happening immediately, while timely, quick, continuous conversations happen about what are we doing with the gazebo to ensure that everybody is safe, and the community is in awareness of what is happening.
Sure, there is
Yeah.
people who wish to speak. There's Laura Richardson, there's Dale West, and there's Katie Morrow.
Okay. Laura Richardson, you were the first of those, and we'll go to Dale West and Katie. Go ahead.
Okay, I agree also that this meeting wasn't even announced to a lot. Most people don't even know it's happening. Most people don't know what the plans are going on with the gazebo for the town. This has been a subject with me for months, and I was told repeatedly by you that the gazebo was fine. I just got off the phone with John Evans yesterday, and he told me that the underpinnings are fine. I called the fire marshal, Patrick Banks, a couple of weeks ago. And
Thank you.
So you're the one that did that. Okay.
I am, and he
We
sent an
appreciate that.
and the inspector said that it was okay. So for you all to decide in a day that you need to tear this building down is really hard to fathom. You know, like, I know that I can see the problems. I've been talking about these problems for months. These are things that can be fixed. If the underpinnings are sound, it's basically the exterior perimeter is a problem. It has been a problem all along, and it was ignored. You can't ignore a wooden structure and expect it to be okay. I think that the townspeople, from what I have been getting from feedback from them with the people that have signed the petition way back in October, is that they love this building. It means a lot to them. And I think they need to have a say in whether it gets torn down or not. So Phoebe's
that's fine, but I disagree.
Interrupting me.
Totally disagree.
It's not okay. It doesn't matter whether you agree or not. You're supposed to represent the town, the entire town and the community, not just a few people. So we need to have
hold on just one second. Hold on one second. You are pushing a narrative that I'm sick of hearing since last November. The call came today, and don't start that rolling of eyes thing that you've been doing to us ever since November. The guys went down there to work today at 11:30.
Order. We gotta call order. You're not supposed to be getting.
The guy came down today, both of them, that have been working to keep that thing up, putting in the rotted boards. And they discovered that there was a problem when they removed an end cap of one of those boards. And that's what set off today. Now, you know what? If you want to have that structure stay there, then you take on the liability of it, because I'm not going to. Not one bit.
People have a right to weigh in on this.
Taking liability for it.
So real quick, speaking of people weighing in on this, I just wanted to let everybody know, full transparency, since it is a Zoom meeting, that I am currently in Putney at Landmark College, running a Governor's Institute program on global issue and youth action. And there are youth who are observing this as a process of town action, town community, as they're all Vermont high school students. So I just wanted to make sure that everybody was aware about that we are literally in part of the fishbowl, because we have Vermonters surrounded by us observing part of the Zoom meeting. So I just wanted to let people know.
So,
Laura has not quite finished yet, and then we should probably move on to Dale.
Yeah, finish.
I just want to mention that this is an example of the kind of treatment I've gotten for months from this board, because I was concerned about this way back in October and was ignored. And I was told that it was fine, that John Evans says everything's okay. And John Evans told me yesterday that everything was okay. I talked with him on the phone yesterday and he said it was okay.
That was yesterday.
If he was working on it yesterday before I talked with him. If he is concerned, why isn't he at this meeting talking about this? I mean, frankly, he isn't even an inspector. This person that came and inspected it is a licensed inspector by the state of Vermont. I can see that it's rotten. I have no doubt that it's rotten, but it can be fixed. That's all I've got to say.
Yep.
Okay, and then we're gonna move on to Dale West.
Go ahead, Dale.
Thank you all. I understand some of the people's frustration. I also see some of the board's frustration. We all just need to remember etiquette and respect. But on to my point about this tonight is my concern. One thing is we don't need to wait till next town meeting. We get 5% of the people in this town write a petition to have a special town meeting to discuss this matter. I would advise the board that might be a more calmer approach to this problem. I understand the need of an emergency. When I was talking to my wife tonight, my 6-year-old son was all upset about he was going to lose what he saw outside his school. So I think you need to think about the emotional effect of just tearing it down and not having that discussion. I believe that would be the fair set, and do Phoebe's suggestion of putting up a safer barrier to keep people out of it. Have it, throw it. Even the board can throw a special town meeting in 30 days and have it decided by the taxpayers on how to handle this situation. Obviously, the immediate effect of what the board needs to do is put a safe barrier and protect the public from the structure. You don't need to tear it down to protect the publics of the public. And that's how I'm going to leave it tonight with you guys. And you guys can decide what you want to do, but you may want to think about all the effects that creates with everybody. So thank you for the time.
And I think we have Katie next.
Katie, go ahead.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Okay, so I just want to retrace a little bit back to this past Tuesday. We had to go into executive session at the end of our meeting, and then we had to come back out of executive session for a vote. And maybe a lot of people didn't see that part of the meeting where we had to vote on this issue because there was an anonymous complaint, if I'm not wrong there, which I believe the VLCT, they came out and visited it, told us some things that they thought on a quick inspection was wrong with it. And they told us that they weren't totally sure that it was fully covered under our insurance, and we had to research that. And through that research, we were told that we needed to find out a value for that building so that it could be the insuring of that building could be spelled out more, particularly for the VLCT and for our insurance. And so when we did that, that's when these particular issues that Sherwood just showed you all the slides of came to light. So there have been many, many inspections of the building over time, but I will say that this more specific issue that we kind of uncovered with the ant damage and things like that came as a result of this lineage that just happened and we just discussed on Tuesday. I feel like that's important for us to point out because I feel like people are saying that we are just doing this overnight, and that's not completely the truth. The other thing I need to say is that, Laura, yes, you have come here many, many times to talk about this building, and I will tell you that I personally encouraged you to put an article in front of town meeting this past March and in the winter before that to get this gazebo up to snuff the way that it needed to be. I also told you several other possibilities of things, forming committees, which I would be happy to help with in order to make it sound and structural and something the town could actually use. And I feel frustrated that you're saying that we all were flippant at you about that, because that is not the truth, and you can look at the minutes.
Thank you, Katie. Who else wants to have a speak? Go ahead, Connie, what do you got?
We have Alenka who wants to speak.
Okay, go ahead, Alenka.
Hi. There's a few things. I think I have one concern that if we are aware that this is a danger at this point, why hasn't what Phoebe has suggested already been done? That is one concern. If it's that dangerous and there are kids that play like many evenings, that's one piece. Two, I think that passing off what Laura said about the fire inspector coming is something that I think a structural engineer, when we're dealing with the whole entire town of Townsend and people that have feelings, has a structural engineer come in and looked at it and said what can be done. I am not a structural engineer. I can tell that stuff does need to be done. But when you look at some of that stuff, is it possible to replace it without having it torn down? And which might save the taxpayers money in the end, having it done along the bottom and making it structurally sound without tearing it down. I understand the emergency nature of this meeting, but again, if it is not safe, it is not marked off right now. And so if there is such a need for it without people being aware, I was out with my kids all day. I got home and got a message from someone that's on vacation in Colorado asking me this. And I said, that's not true. There was a select board meeting on Tuesday. People are not aware of this and able to share something where possibly people could come together, bring a motion to a special town meeting or town meeting to have a guarantee, to be told what our options are. There might be people that can come together and build that. And I think it does not sit well with me that it was done in such a manner when it is also not protected right now. And I think that it is something that a lot of people really would like to speak to. And I work in this building. I was here by myself for the whole afternoon yesterday and had no idea about this. And I know it came quickly, but there's no way for people to actually speak, and also people that might be able to offer their services or something. But I also think that not having, if we've had inspections, I was here when VLCT, the inspector came, I think it was last week. He said that it looked good to him. We have a fire inspector that's a state fire inspector that looked at it 2 weeks ago and said it's okay. Maybe it's not, but I think there are answers and better ways to do this. I think Phoebe's, I honestly am kind of sad that it hasn't already been done. If this is such a concern, Phoebe's question, what would be the harm in making sure that even if it collapsed right this second, no one was able to be in that vicinity? And I think that it's just hard to not have it feel like more people are even aware of this to be able to speak to this. So that's what I have to say.
Thank you.
I'd like to say something to that.
Go ahead.
Alenka, my question would be to you, and I'm not as far as tearing it down, but when it comes to putting more money into that little building, at what point do we stop trying to Band-Aid that building together and go to a different building? It's the amount of money that you're going to pay to keep putting $2,500, $3,000, whatever it costs into that building. You could recreate it and have it be of the proper wood and other stuff and make it so that the thing is going to last and not be a Band-Aid. So that
Absolutely, Rob,
can I speak, or am I just not talking anymore?
I'm sorry.
Well, so what I'm trying to say is that for the people that are going to be here for multiple years down the road, I personally feel that we would be better off to start with a building made of the proper building materials and built with the idea that it's supposed to last. That was a movie prop. That wasn't made to be there for 30, 40 years. And, you know, it's one of those things that, you know, if you go look at it, it is what it is. And I mean, if you want to put money into it, vote to make an article and put money into it. I mean, if we, you know, we have been given the notice that it's of extreme liability. And once that happens, now we're on the hook as far as we have to do something about it. So it either has to be mended or not mended. And I don't know exactly what way to go with it, but you know.
And Rob, I agree with you that, but I totally agree with you that maybe putting a Band-Aid on it isn't the right thing. But I think moving forward in this degree, when we don't know if we got all new footings, I don't know any of this stuff, but if there's a possibility that we should look at our options rather than just going forward with this. So it might be that it really does need to be torn down. I also think, and I've heard from people in town, not about this issue, they don't necessarily trust that it would be done, that it would even be brought up. I mean, if it was at a town meeting, it's hard. There's not even a lot of people that even get to town meeting and have the luxury of being able to take off work and that kind of stuff. I just think that it may be that this is the right decision, but I don't think we have enough knowledge at this point, expert knowledge, that we can guarantee that this is the right decision. And that I do think having more people in town being able to weigh in and have different decisions. And it might also not come down to taxpayers. There might be people that would be willing to donate, or there's other ways of going about it. But I think that having more information before something is torn down is a better way to go. And if we could do what Phoebe said and make sure that it's safe for the community, I don't understand why we have to go forward with this tomorrow. I've gotten a lot of people very upset contacting me. And I think that people have a right to have more of a say, and also to be able to act with more knowledge of what really, have ideas and know what really is a possibility and what can be done. So but maybe Band-Aid it, it might be tearing it down, but I think that the town has the right to be more aware of what options are. So
Rob Swagger, whatever can fit in, go ahead.
What I was going to say is that when the guy burned through the common and hit it with the BMW, I believe it was somewhere maybe 5 or 6 years ago. I do believe Ralph Sherman was the contractor that was hired by the town to fix what had happened to it. And he said in his report at the end, and I believe it's in part with his bill from that time, that building was going to need some serious work. And that was 5 or 6 years ago. So, I mean, that's I'm just throwing that out as information, not trying to, whatever.
Laura Richardson wants to respond to that.
If that was the case, then why wasn't it addressed then? Why was no one, I mean, people have just been pushing it off into the background or whatever for years. It should have been, if it was brought to your attention 5 or 6 years ago, why wasn't it addressed 5 or 6 years ago?
Because 5 or 6 years ago, Laura, it was taken care of by the Townshend Business Association. Remember that dissolved when COVID hit? That wasn't anything to do with the select board. All right. That's why. So look into it.
There are monies available, and there have been monies available for quite a long time to repair that gazebo.
This is revisionist history that you keep bringing up to us.
Because you need to be reminded.
Obviously, by you. Every other week you have to be reminded.
Yeah.
I'd like to go back to Phoebe's motion about cordoning off the area. if we could get our health officer and our construction foreman to give us an appropriate berth that would keep it up in order to help kind of save the emotions that are tied to this building, and then have a later meeting. I think that does make sense after hearing some of the citizens' opinions. Just to go back to what Phoebe was saying.
Instead of tearing it down. So you want to keep it? I want to give the town more time to realize.
Okay. Connie, are you set with people there?
Tomorrow.
Anybody, I think everybody here was chiming in with Rob and Phoebe's motion. And I don't think I have anything to say.
Okay. Let's see. Is there anybody else that would like to speak?
Sure, and I just wanted to say that your collapse zone should be 1.5 the height of the building for protection and safety. That's your standard OSHA distance.
Can I ask, what are we going to, not to interrupt you, Dale, but what are we going to do when it comes to the fair days? Are we going to have a certain part cordoned off and just hope that people stay away from it? Or, I mean, are we going to bring somebody down there and have them watch and make sure that somebody stays off of it? I mean, we're kind of, you know,
I'm just relaying what I know for information. No, you may have to hire a fencing company, put a 6-foot fence up. That's what we use in the construction world to protect people from debris in the construction world. 6-foot fence.
Very good suggestion, Bill.
I'm just leaving it that.
No, I think
I just wanted to say what it was.
Go ahead, Connie.
Yep.
Yeah. All I'm saying is it possibly does need to be torn down, but why does it have to be done in this manner when you could call an emergency meeting like you did? And I heard some stuff that was very interesting to hear. Other towns, no one else in the town has heard it. So how come we can't just have a meeting posted so people know about it that can come? And you probably would get more people agreeing with you that it needs to be torn down instead of stirring up a whole friggin' hornet's nest that doesn't need to be stirred up. It's not, if it has to be torn down, it can be torn down before hospital fair day. That's easy enough to do. So can't we just call a meeting and post it to the town that we have to discuss this now and not over Zoom, but right here in the town hall? That's it. That's all I'm saying. This seems shady.
Okay, we've got a few other people here. I don't know how many of them wish to speak, but now is your option, or now is your time.
Katie has raised her hand.
Go ahead, Katie.
Hi, I'm in support of a special town meeting, or however that procedure would work. That was kind of my line of thinking this past week when we were discussing this, that I felt like this was sort of a townwide decision that needed to be made, though I'm totally under the understanding that that the issues that were being shown in the video and in the pictures and what we have found out since seeking the insurance is pretty dangerous. And I don't want to take too much time, where anyone could be hurt or anything like that. But I do think that if the people are saying that we should have a special town meeting, I'm in support of that. That was my line of thinking from the beginning.
Okay, anybody else?
I'll second what Katie said.
Okay. So what we need to do is move to the vote, that vote motion that Phoebe made. Connie, can you read the motion, please?
The motion, as Phoebe stated, it was to immediately erect a protective barrier that is safer and wider for protection. That was I think, official motion. I mean, there was also the reason for it, but that, I think the official motion is to immediately erect a safer barrier, which would mean larger perimeter and more safe.
Okay. So that's the motion that was seconded.
Is it possible to amend that motion, Sherwood?
Yep.
I'd like to amend it basically at the discretion of our safety officer and the officials we get who have the credentials to make those decisions.
Okay, you added to the original motion. Phoebe, do you have any objections to that?
Okay, so then somebody's going to have to state the motion again with the amendment.
Go ahead, Rob.
I would move to cordon off the area surrounding the gazebo as decided by our health officer and the individual who we deem has the credentials to make that decision.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
All right. All those in favor of cordoning this off and signify by saying aye.
Aye.
So we have an aye from, who do we have the aye
Swigert?
from? Yeah,
I think
okay.
Katie has her hand up as an aye. Phoebe has her hand up as an aye. Rob has his hand up as an aye. Rob Swiger, do you want to say it verbally since we don't see you?
Aye.
All
I
those,
would like-
oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go with the opposed.
All those are opposed, and I will say aye to that. The motion carries 4-1. I am the health officer, and I will tell you if that thing starts to lean, starts to become a problem, it will come down. No further meeting. If we get a rainstorm or we get something, a windstorm that causes that thing to change, it's coming down. We will see about putting together, go ahead, Rob.
Well, I would suggest, as Dale said, Dale worked through the state. If they use 6-foot fence, we need to get a 6-foot fence, rent it wherever they get theirs from, electrify it, razor wire on the top, and it should be good.
We'll get it barricaded off. All right, that's this issue will come forward again. We'll warn it in a regular meeting and see where it goes.
Sounds good. Dale,
Motion
thank you
to-
for the input on the fencing and safety parameters.
Another thing that I would add to it, Alanka, is as far as why hasn't it been done already? They had a meeting at 12:30 and came up with that as a plan, and the road crew gets out at 2:30. So that leaves you 2 hours, from the time the meeting started to the time the road crew is supposed to leave. It'd be pretty hard to get everything together as far as fencing and all the other stuff in order to have that in place by the time they leave. As far as you could have them work overtime or whatever, but I would imagine that would be the reason why there wasn't extra perimeter safety stuff around it.
Did
Can I
hear
ask
there was,
another question?
Oh,
What's that?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Hey, I seems my name's been thrown here in a minute. I also would say we would also try to secure it so it wouldn't fall over. Is there any way of propping it up to secure it to make it safer within the perimeter to keep it from collapsing? That would be also another thing to think about. And I hate to really bring it up, but I think it would be very minute not to bring that up. Is there operations to maybe secure it from falling over and along with putting a safety perimeter up? Has there any thought have been put into that?
When it first happened, there was an idea of putting a 4x4, a couple of 4x4s inside of the structure. It isn't going to do any good. If it decides to go, it's going to go. It's just the way the thing was built. It has no structure underneath of it that's holding there. The only thing that's holding the upper part of that building is the flooring. That's it. And the flooring's rotted. So, I mean,
Okay.
I'm not
That's where it
arguing either
sits.
way. I just wanted to ask that question. That's all.
There's no other questions here for this crew from this.
Um,
Okay.
I wanted to ask something. Don't we still need to move forward with the insuring of it?
Yeah, we do.
In the meantime, if we're gonna take more time and have an emergency meeting to decide this, we still have to insure the building, correct?
Yeah. As
Okay,
long as it's up, we're going to have to find a way to get it insured.
right.
So I-
But we're also going to have to disclose that it's in this condition. So the liability becomes even more.
Okay, so the sooner that we can discuss this townwide, the better.
Yep.
Was what we were doing here as well. I know it felt hasty, but that is what we were trying to do.
Yep. Go ahead. Go ahead, Connie.
So warn a meeting, emergency meeting ASAP. Get it out there in the interwebs, on the Facebooks, so the town knows, and explain this. And I bet you there'd be more people in town that would say, yeah, all right, let's tear it down, let's build a new one. But just boom, doing it like this is just not right. So get on the whatever and warn a meeting.
Okay. I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All right. Okay, we're done. We'll work out a solution.
Thank you,
Great work, guys.
everyone.